The sea is blind to the road, and the road is blind to the rain. The road welcomes no footfalls. The blind are an ocean's flood on the road's shore. Walk then, unseeing, like children with hands outstretched, down to valleys of blinding darkness. The road leads down through shadows of weeping gods. This sea knows but one tide flowing into sorrow's depthless chambers. The sea is shore to the road, and the road is the sea's river to the blind. When I hear the first footfalls, I know the end has come, and the rain shall rise like children with hands outstretched. I am the road fleeing the sun, and the road is blind to the sea, and the sea is blind to the shore, and the shore is blind to the sea. The sea is blind.
Sea's blind because it doesn't have eyes.
Neither does the road.
Poetry's dumb. Hello, and welcome to the Legendarium Green Team's Malazan series. Welcome to episode 2 of the Dust of Dreams series. I am Hurinfan, and I'm joined by Befuddled Panda.
Hello, hello.
And Ashaman.
Hello, everybody.
We're covering Dust of Dreams Book 2, also known as chapters 7 through 12, yeah?
Yes.
It's a doozy. So, Ash, hit it.
Chapter 7. Erastus visits an old friend. Kilmandaros has a vision of a Sark. Quick Ben comes to an understanding with Bottle. Sandalath leaves to join the Shake. The Letharian Malazan war games end with each side impressing the other. Sin and Grub explore a distant world.
Do we have anything to say about the Errant and Kilmandy and Knuckles? Just machinations and dragons and stuff.
So Knuckles is an elder god, and he was the one that created Opon.
Yeah, they're all
Yes.
elder gods here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Errant,
But he
Kilmandy.
specifically,
Yes.
somehow created Opon.
He claims that he created the twins, yeah.
And he kind of foisted his duties off onto them.
Created as in he's their father or some other way.
I believe he referred to them as their children, yeah?
Yeah, but it could be they're his
metaphorical.
adopted children. Yeah, metaphorical children. Who knows?
The elder gods kind of work on that weird metaphorical, literal level all the time.
Yeah, and the twins especially are they're kind of like a, I don't know, they feel more alien to me than most of the gods. I don't know if they would be ascendants or if they are the same stuff as the rest of the elder gods or not. Who knows? I don't know.
I heard it's strange that it was Knuckles that created them and not the Errant. I know the Errant's been mostly on, Lether. They've been kind of separated from them all, but they seem more similar to the Errant than Knuckles, or what we understand of Knuckles being related to the Fulcral Cell.
I mean, Erastus is only a god of ill chance, right?
He likes to think otherwise.
Yeah. He's like a god of tragedy, a god of making things go badly for people, which can be good luck for someone else. But I don't know. I feel like the twins, their luck isn't it's not a zero-sum game.
Okay.
Although it kind of is for Koreb actually, because he's really lucky in battle and really unlucky everywhere else.
I feel like the Opon twin would be really good anime characters.
Absolutely.
Portrayed in that way.
I believe they had I could be wrong, but I own the Gardens of the Moon Japanese editions, and they have pretty good illustrations, and I think they might be in there.
Yeah, they have spiky hair and long coats.
Yeah, I bet there's some really cool fan art about those two.
So Osirk is being a little scaredy cat, hiding from Edgewalker and Nazath.
Yeah, hiding from Edgewalker. What a pansy.
I get the feeling that Steve doesn't like Osirk very much.
I don't think Steve likes the Leosin very much. I don't know how I feel about Osirk. I don't know. It's hard to have the conversation without the context of the novels of the Malazan Empire and Karkanos, but
can you even bring in that outside context? Yeah, we should probably have a conversation about Osirk in the spoilers episode.
Yeah.
Maybe just a Leosin in general, but you need to finish the novels first.
I do. Does he show up in Orb Scepter Thumb?
I don't think so, no.
Because I know he shows up in Blood and Bone. And I read that one.
Well, there's some more Leosin stuff. The novel, the Path to Ascendancy as well.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, like, the kind of entire ethos of the Leosin is something Steve really despises. So, yeah, they don't maybe they don't get a fair shake. Who knows?
They seem definitely more even-handed in the Esselmont books.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if anyone's the religious zealot in the of the duo, it's Cam, right?
I wonder if I wonder if Cam was role played them more often.
I wouldn't be
Maybe
surprised.
we're psychoanalyzing too much.
Probably.
We surely are, but
The way that this trio, I guess, was talking, it was like Master of the Tiles versus Master of the Deck. And this whole time I was just thinking Yu-Gi-Oh! Like all these different pawns are just cards in the deck, and these elder gods are
They're the Egyptian god cards.
I know almost nothing about Yu-Gi-Oh except stupid haircuts and it's about cards.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's all you need to know. Well, Yugi's grandfather's deck doesn't have pathetic cards. It has actually 0 pathetic cards. That's what you need to know.
Okay.
There's the blue-eyed white dragon.
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
I know that one. That one's a meme, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, there's so many memes.
Anyway, that was a tangent.
Yeah, Erastus has really turned a corner. He's like suddenly he's just like all about power, which is really a contrast from how he was in like Midnight Tides, where he was
Yeah.
kind of reluctant to join things again. I don't know. Maybe he's just like a recovering alcoholic in Midnight Tides, and now he's fully relapsed.
Maybe.
Maybe Featherwitch had a more of an impact on him than he likes to admit.
Yeah. Well, so like Knuckles was saying to Erastus, like, have you not learned? Time cares nothing for our wants, and no god that has ever existed can be as cruel as time. And it's like, no matter how hard the errant tries, like, time's gonna win. He can try to nudge things. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we also see that with Hedge later
Mhm.
in this book as well. He's trying to turn back the clock. He's trying to resurrect the bridge burners, but as Fiddler says, bridge burners are dead.
Yeah, they're gone. But Kilimandros talking to Osric, right? In her dream vision, whatever, she was saying like, "Oh, you make death seem so tidy." Um, and that whole sequence, like, it was reminiscent of the Swedish practice of tidying to prepare for death. They call it death cleaning.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Which it's the whole idea is that, like, okay, you're towards the end of your life, and you shouldn't like burden the the your relatives, your family with having to clean up after you and like figure out what to do with your stuff.
That sounds like good policy. I guess he's tidying on behalf of all the people he killed then.
I guess so. It's kind
I
of the
guess so.
opposite.
Yeah, and at the end of her dream, Kilmanderos is thinking this is the future. So whatever is here is yet to come, which is really interesting. There's a lot of future visions
Yeah. Can it be
in the
changed
last couple
though?
books. Can it change?
Or is that like
I don't think so.
that is what's gonna happen?
Yeah, well, like okay, maybe it's different rules for different people. I wouldn't be surprised if it worked like that in Malazan. But the Tano Spirit Walkers, we know that like their lives are like closed loops,
Hmm.
right? So they can see the future and the past, but they can't change anything ever, which is B3. And the Tanos actually get a name drop by Sin in this. She actually was tutored by a Tano Spirit Walker, which was really cool.
Yeah.
I actually have a quote from her.
Time lost its way here?
No, it was longer than that.
Well, I have a quote from that same section about time, and I think it's from Sin. I'll read it while you're looking. Time lost its way here, wandering until the ceaseless reign of detritus weighed it down, brought it to its knees, and then buried it. Anyone could fall to the same fate. The danger, the risk was very real. No creature of sentience could withstand this place for long. Futility delivered its crushing symphony, and the dread music was eternal. Sin's getting scary.
I love Sin. this is also just like a kind of a scary place, I think.
It is a scary place. But I relate to Grub, who's just like, what is going on? This place is creepy. Sin, you're scaring me.
Grub's just trying to have a good time.
And, and he's worried about his friend, and I think he should be.
Yeah.
She's not quite stable.
No.
She never has been, but it's getting worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. She says, wisdom grows by stripping away beliefs until the last tether is cut, and suddenly you float free. Only because your eyes are wide open, you see right away that you can't float in what you're in. You can only sink. That's why the meanest religions work so hard at keeping their followers ignorant. Knowledge is poison. Wisdom is depthless. Staying ignorant keeps you in the shadows. Every Tana one day takes a final spirit walk. They cut the last tether and the soul can't go back. When that happens, the other Tanos mourn because they know the spirit walker has drowned.
I think you can float in urine, though.
You can float in urine?
Hmm.
Have you tried?
I just imagine so.
I mean, okay, it's definitely saltier than water, most water, and a lot of people can float anyways. So yeah, you could. It wouldn't be pleasant. This is, I think, a great encapsulation of what feels like one of the key themes of this book, where everyone's trying to find some kind of meaning, and specifically meaning after something has happened. So there's the Kachain Shamal later who are like, everything needs to be like paired opposites, basically. That's how reality exists. And the Barghast, of course, they need an enemy to fight. Who are they without an enemy? They make up an enemy. The Lethari are trying to find their new purpose. The Malazans are wondering what their purpose, like what they're being sent after is. Erastus is deliberately setting up a confrontation between him and the deck and the gods and the mortals. So this is quite a structuralist book, which I'm sure Huron is furious about.
Structuralism's fine. I'd say it's also post-structuralist, the whole series.
Yeah, maybe. But like this specifically, this feels very structuralist to me.
They set up the dichotomies and
dichotomies and like all the space between them and all the questions that get raised when you think of these things.
There's a lot of interconnectedness being discussed. Yes.
Yeah. And then once you realize that a lot of these dichotomies are false, and like what are you left with? if you're continually stripping away beliefs and you realize like everything is like arbitrary and like why I believe in anything, and like what are you left with? Which is
that's the question.
Yeah, that's what they're like all struggling with here. It seems like they're like, damn it, why didn't I stay ignorant? It's so much easier then.
There are things that, yes, I wish I were ignorant of, but that doesn't change the reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think Steve likes to do that a lot. It's like, oh, never, I'm not going to go into that now.
Okay.
I quite enjoyed the war games, the ending of the war games.
Yeah.
So satisfying.
Yeah, we get a little bit of a post-mortem of why the Malazans were so successful fighting the Lethari, and how the Eater were actually much more dangerous and why, and a little bit of how the Lethari are already adapting, which is really cool to see. Good job, Briss. And yet the Malazans are still the ones who are the coolest. They win.
I love Kenneth.
The matzo balls.
Kenneth and Briss, just lots of bonding there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's just satisfying. Satisfying is all I got to say. The bottle scenes were a lot of fun.
Yes.
Bottle and Korab.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It struck the balance between having humor and something that's actually kind of important that's going on.
Korab is another one of those characters that I really didn't care for initially, but now I'm like, oh, I'm glad he's getting some page time.
I'm glad he's our fanatic now.
He just really likes swords.
I think just any sort of weapon, but I guess particularly swords.
That scene made me sad. Smiles. You're so mean. Tar. Good job.
His childish glee with his weapons is very.
Well, just you know those people. It's just like they get so excited about something, and then somebody's just there to shoot them down.
Yeah.
The trick is to be resiliently excited about things.
Yeah.
I'm
not going to let you destroy my son.
Yeah, exactly. That's a later chapter though. But I find it funny how, there's one thing that Smile says that she knows she's mean. She's immediately told off about it. And then she says something that's like really nice and considerate when she's, I think it's Cuddle. Cuddle gets like his finger bit or something. And she's like, oh, you need to do this or it's gonna go bad. And then everyone just looks at her and she's like, you want fine, I'll just be mean.
It's her way to survive.
Yeah, it totally is. It totally is. And considering the life she had, I can't blame her.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you guys are enjoying it, but I'm all for Pores' antics.
Yes.
And kindly.
I am
I love it.
not. Ugh, it's so dumb.
I mean,
I'm enjoying this immensely more than Tehol and Bug this book.
Oh, I love Tehol and Bug.
I always love Tehol and Bug.
I do. I usually do, but like we'll talk about it later.
Lieutenant Pores, he's getting old to me. His antics.
That's Master Sergeant Pores actually.
I mean, sorry.
Yeah, isn't he quartermaster now?
No, he's just Master Sergeant.
He just talks with the quartermasters. He's promoted sideways to Master Sergeant.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good sideways promotion.
Now
he has a twin brother too, I think.
Supposedly. I do like Center and what's the other one? Kisware. Center and Kisware, how they are very aware of his shenanigans and they do play into it, but in their way.
Yeah. Center and Kisware, another set of paired opposites, eh?
It gives everybody, if they play with Pores, it gives everybody a chance to stick it to Kindly, whom everyone hates. So, it's a win-win for everyone. And even Kindly sometimes comes out on top. So he's good too.
Kindly's not even like this harsh but brilliant officer. He's just mean.
Well, he sees something in Pores.
He sees a rival in Pores. Someone to keep him entertained.
Yeah.
What did Sweetlard and Rumjugs call Kindly? They had a pet name for it. It was hilarious.
Big Kindly or something like that.
Yeah, Big something.
Yeah, Rumjugs is an excellent name, by the way.
I like Sweetlard. Rumjugs is good too, but Sweetlard, ooh.
I love how they join up because it's like a weight loss program to them. I mean, people joined armies for stupider reasons, to be fair.
Fair. I did enjoy the little insight into how Sunrise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chose their name.
Sergeant Twit.
Yeah, Twit to Sunrise. It was
Twit
sweet.
to Sunrise.
Yeah, that was really nice.
To be fair, he is a twit. Quick Ben and Bottle is just two weasels trying to weasel each other, which I'm always here for, even though they're on the same side.
Uh-huh. I think they're just bonding, but in a competitive bro way.
Yeah, they're hilariously over sneaky with each other. Both of them are so used to just hiding everything from everything they know from everybody around them. Yeah, both of them know each other's tricks, and they're both pinning each other down, which is great. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of pair that Quick Ben needs.
There was a section in this chapter that I read, and I was like, this is literally my note. This is an anthropologist fantasy. And that was a section when it was talking about tamed with all, could change them all. So it says, praying to a strip of beach and whatnot, and that is what interests me more than those surviving Tai Sandy. And that is why I wish to speak with their elders, their witches and warlocks. Deadsmell described the horrid skeletons his squad and Sin found on the north end of the island. Half reptilian, half human, misbegotten, da-da-da-da-da-da. It was this, I guess the last part and it was not in isolation. No, there was some form of contact, some kind of relationship. There must have been. That goes to your structuralist point. But yeah, I was just trying to understand a society or a species culture based on the remnants of what is left, and thinking there has to be a relationship between all of these things.
Yeah, why would they have these tales of the Andes still? What's their motivation? They don't look very Andy, right? And then they're kind of reconstructing everything like the racial heritage of the whole continent. I love it.
Right. But that's also kind of like how we have been trying to reconstruct what like dinosaurs look like, and
Yeah.
saying like potentially getting it wrong all the time. We're like, oh, they had
Absolutely
these
getting it wrong
bones.
all the time.
Yeah, like here's this little cavity in the skull. Maybe this indicates that they had this kind of node on their brain or whatever.
Yep.
Chapter 8.
Yeah, we can go to chapter 8. Chapter 8. Kalyath ruminates on the impossibility of finding a righteous cause. Torrent, Sitok, and Kefal strand themselves in another distant world, escaping with the help of some ghost wolves. The ghosts' companions reminisce about what brought them to their current lot in life. Yan Tovis opens the way to Gillan, while Yedin Derrig defends the way. Yedin Derrig continuing to be the late game champ. The only reason he's not included in the previous books is because he would just solve all the problems for everybody immediately.
He was in the previous books, though.
He in Reaper's Gale, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He had not unleashed his power then, though.
God, Yaden is just the Bamf that everybody's been waiting for.
Like, okay, it's early Karsa, but Karsa gets like annihilated by a Forker Lasalle.
Mm.
Yedin Derrig just kills it, no problem.
But he also caught. Is that this chapter? That's actually.
Oh wait, no, sorry, that's not this chapter. No, he's just killing people this chapter.
Lots of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's buying time for Twilight
The Shake.
to get the
Absolutely.
people out.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing his job. He's the watch.
Yeah.
Gotta watch over him.
Oh, I love the watch. That's a cool name.
Yeah. Cooler than Twilight, which is also a pretty cool name.
I love both. Yeah.
I'm not saying they're not both great. I love Yantovis and I love Twilight. I mean,
I'm really digging the
You know what I
Shake
mean?
this time.
the Shake are really interesting.
Yes. I think they're very easy for a first time reader to not find interesting at all. And be like, who are these people? Why do I care?
It's not okay, fine. Yes, I'll
It's
just
so
say it.
quick too.
They're not as interesting because they're just more confusing. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, I can we get on with this so that I can get to, because like with the Malazans and the Letheri, right? Like we know that they have a goal,
Mhm.
and we want to see what's gonna happen when they get to colonies, whatever.
Calance.
Calance. With the Shake, it's like, okay, they have to leave, but I didn't know where they were going, what they were trying to do, right? What was their goal? It wasn't until at the end of this book 2 that we find out, okay, they're going to Carcass. But even the majority of them didn't know.
Yeah.
That's what they were doing. They were just following Twilight.
Yeah, and it doesn't even seem like Twilight really knows. Yedin Derrig in the in this book talks about how he has memories in his blood.
Right.
So like it seems to me that they're operating mostly on instinct and based off of tales that are like 100 generations old. But they were feeling like they couldn't stay where their ancestral home was, so they're like, you know what, we're going to go to the only refuge we know of, like a prophesized refuge, Carcass. And we have a way to Carcass, and it's through the blood of royalty.
So I do have some questions around this. Like for you, because you guys have read Carcass, do you feel like you're more interested this time around reading the Shake because of reading the Carcass books?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say I'm more
I
interested
agree.
in what they're doing because I know what happens. But yeah, like Ashwood said it earlier, like this is just really interesting, and I love the story of like this sort of quasi Andy people who really don't quite understand their own history, and they're struggling to lead these people, and the idea of stories passed down generation to generation without really knowing what's going on. Plus, there's just a lot of mysteries around this the snake, the Shake. It's really interesting to me.
I would add that I really like the imagery associated with them. The shore that is always getting overtaken by the sea. They're always losing. They're always in retreat. They're always persecuted. They're the ones that have their eyes open to the decay that's around them.
Does this story remind you anything of the Old Testament Jews, like Moses' time?
They kind of remind me of the Jews just generally, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, sort of. Except for they don't have a divine benefactor.
Yeah. Which is
They're just kind of left bereft and on their own, and yet like there are some real heroes among them, like Yed and Derek being the prime example. He's just like he's a guy with his eyes open, and maybe he sees a bit too much and he's a bit too cynical and a bit too grim, but right now it's working out for him.
well, he's got
I
a
think
job and he's got meaning and he's sticking
Yeah,
with it.
I think part of it is like the whole shake witches, wizards, people.
warlocks and witches. Yeah.
Yeah, like they they're just kind of confusing, and it's hard for me to really understand like okay, how are they different? Mm, this is hard to explain. Like they're so ridiculous, like ridiculously portrayed that it's like hard for me to take them seriously. But it's like a very serious situation that they're in, you know? And like the whole thing about Twilight and her brother, I guess I just kind of gloss over their parts in the other books. And so now I'm just like, yeah, I don't.
Their parts in the other books were very small. It was just basically, this is the Shake, this is their, here's a little bit of their history, and Yantovs is doing this.
Mhm.
Right. So it's just like maybe it's because there wasn't enough time for me to really like grow attached or like really be invested in them. And now they're taking up significant page time where it's like, okay, but there are so many other things that I would rather be reading.
There's no cozy time with a shake like there is with the Malazans. No,
No.
yeah,
Or the
Except
snake.
or the
well,
snake.
this isn't cozy, but like, but then when Yed and Derek does his thing, with the Leosin and the Fork Sale, that was like really exciting and drew me in. I was like, okay, they're not just helpless people, like they're not just these ridiculous characters. Like
Mhm.
there is actually power here.
Yet and Derek is definitely ridiculous in the other direction for me. Not, I love him, but like he's so overtuned, shall we say?
I did have a comparison of him to John Wick. Like, to me,
Absolutely,
Yeah, I can see it.
he's just like that John Wick
absolutely,
character.
just like ridiculously hyper competent all the time. Yeah, you'll see more of it. Don't worry. Yeah, if nothing else, you can look forward to that.
Okay, that I'm excited for.
I yeah, I also like how everything in with the shake is like steeped in like 15 layers of mysticism. Like how they talk about each other. I think it's like Pulley says the watch sees and is not blind. And that's just a cool line, right? I love that line. But like you like from this, like I can get the sense that like the watches throughout history have been referred to as like probably either blind or like these are the blind watches and these are the not blind watches. These are the
I
ones that
see.
actually see what's going on.
I like pithy and brevity.
Oh yeah, Pithy and Brevity are awesome,
They're just fun to read. I like them, and
and
they're
they don't take up much
helpful.
page time.
Nope. I think it might be their names might be a little meta.
No, it's a coincidence probably.
Badal continues to be very sad and makes me sad, and yet I love her and I want to take care of Held.
I love how at the end of the chapter, she looks down at the boy who's curled up beside her and thinks how like she wants to eat his arms or something like that.
Yeah.
After giving a poem about like little lizards eating her fingers.
Yeah.
You and me.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to mention the beginning of this chapter, the epilogue or
Mhm.
epigraph, which is betrayal of the fittest. That was fun.
Yeah. Is it really a fitting, like, because they were saying, betrayal of the fittest, because it's like, you know, the the line is to wit, success of one form of life more often than not initiates devastating population collapse among competitors, and indeed sometimes outright extinction, and that such annihilation of rivals may in fact be a defining feature of success. Like, well, is it a betrayal if they were competitors? Like betrayal implies like there was trust, you know,
I think it's the idea that you were betrayed by your own success.
because you wiped out all the rivals and now there's just you.
Well, maybe I misread it, but I thought this was talking about killing everything and then killing yourself in the process.
We do see that when Tool is reminiscing about how when the IMS were alive on this continent, they hunted everything to extinction essentially, and they would have died because of their own success. They're too successful. They've
Got it.
it's like
Okay.
the it's like the algae who like overpopulate in an oxygen rich environment and then end up dying because they just sucked it all out.
I believe that was the cause of the first mass extinction on the planet. It was just like way too much oxygen in the atmosphere, and like 99.9% of everything died.
Yeah.
It's like humans are very successful at procreating and taking over the world and using up the resources.
No, that couldn't be the point Steve was making. He was talking about ants, Panda.
Don't
You-
get political,
Yeah, don't
jeez.
get political.
I'm not
I
getting
don't, I
political.
don't want politics in my fantasy.
Yeah, Kachang continues to be the most interesting part of this book for me. I love Calith?
Caliph.
Calioth, right?
Calith. I call her Calith. And her speech to the Kachang Shamal about where they need to find their inspiration in each other. It was just so moving and awesome.
And
also,
they're like,
dinosaurs are cool.
We're lizards. We don't have that. Sorry.
I love their POVs because like they're you could find humanity in them, and yet they're still so alien. It's so cool.
And they're really trying to understand too.
Yeah.
But I love their speech, their phrasing of like, yes, everything needs to have an opposite. Otherwise, everything stops making sense. You know, like if there's a lone god, then the god goes insane because there's nothing outside of itself.
And they said the Orotawa dragon is the antithesis to life. It's an interesting idea.
Yeah, plot things.
So,
what do you think about that, Panda?
I have I think my prediction was on the right track where I was saying that I think someone is going to try to kill magic to like stop this cycle of like, using magic for power, blah blah blah. But then that poses the question like, okay, who is the other god, right? I think Burn. I think it's Odotaro Dragon and Burn, or that's the pairing, which all of this honestly just makes me think of Star Wars, where it's like there needs to be balance in the universe. And what that means is like if there are Jedis, there's Sith. If there's Sith, there's going to be Jedis. So you can't just like destroy all the Jedis because then there would not be balance. And you can't destroy all the Siths either. That was my takeaway.
So is Odotaro the dark side then?
Well, I think that's up to interpretation.
To interpretation, yeah.
I'll let you know when I finish the series.
Yeah, and Calioth says that like if you bound this opposite, then isn't that a contradiction, or isn't that going to bring problems? Maybe it has. You know, maybe the world of Malazan has too much life to it, and that's part of what's causing the problems. Who knows?
Maybe it's just humanity.
Well, it's not just humanity, right? Because the Kachang Shamal,
human creatures, nature needs to take its course, man.
Yeah.
It's all
let
a simulation.
Let the wolves have the planet. The wolves would take care of it, man.
The wolves. I mean, hey, there is a contingent.
There is a contingent.
Yeah.
Poor Telemandus. Goodbye.
Yeah. What an unceremonious end for Telemandus.
No, don't. Telemandus blows up.
He just blows up. Okay. I don't know what happened, what the rationale behind that was. I personally don't mind it very much, but like that's like the most unsatisfying ending for a character, I think. It's like
You're speaking as if he's dead.
I mean, yeah, he blew up.
He was a stick, and there's no more sticks.
Yeah.
But
I don't want you to have a false expectation.
He was like a spirit thing within a stick.
He sacrificed his stick body so that Kafal and Sitak and Torrent could escape from the murderous Barghast. And he's a Barghast spirit himself.
So he's gone?
Poof.
You think he's gone? You won't tell
You
me?
ever blown up a pile of sticks before and tried to make the sticks talk afterwards?
Here's the thing. Okay, I've read the series long enough to know that death isn't necessarily the end. and supposed death, I should say.
You're right, but he was already dead.
Yeah.
he already came back
So
once.
then he's like invincible, right?
That's it.
Unless like, well, see,
Maybe
even
you
the
might be
gods
right.
that
Maybe
burned and melted, like, may not actually be dead and gone.
you're right. He could be somewhere ethereal.
Beer and
Magic
wine. Or
just
whatever.
needs to find himself together.
At the bottom of the ocean.
He's just like in pieces, and like the Shadow Warren needs to like gather all the pieces together to become whole again.
Sure,
Hmm.
that definitely could happen. I think there's something there about him being an ancient Barghast and yet sacrifices himself to save non-Barghast from the Barghast.
The world they flee to seems to be industrialized
Hmm,
or in process of industrial evolution. Maybe this is our world. Who knows?
interesting. Lots of dead wolves.
Lots of dead wolves. You know, we've had a lot of dead wolves in our
Indeed.
reality.
Hmm.
Did they flee into her dreams?
No,
I don't think
they
it's ever made clear.
Oh,
I don't think this is some the Talamandus opens rift and they all go through and then they're
right,
trapped in the barrow of something and then they
right.
break out of the barrow and they like the forest around them is clear cut. It's
Mhm.
clear cut in a way that could only be done by like machines.
Like
Or
a chain.
yeah,
Or
it could
humans.
be. Yeah.
Or
That's true. They're
maybe
the
World
most
War II's.
technologically advanced species that we know of so far, right?
Mhm,
Yes.
mhm.
Yeah, not even
Yeah,
close.
yeah, definitely. They got like genetic changing and gigantic flying mount. Yeah,
And nanorobots.
they're traveling space
Okay,
and
that was
drones.
really interesting. I was like, what the heck are these tiny unseen armies? And they are
They're
actually
nanobots.
nanobot.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
they're drones.
This
I love
is
that POV.
very weird. It's like this melding of sci-fi with hardcore fantasy.
Yeah.
What if like the dinosaurs are, like super technologically advanced and like they escaped the the asteroid by like flying into space and then they came
Isn't that the
back?
plot of a Rick and Morty episode?
I don't know, maybe. I've only seen season 1.
It is
I haven't seen it, but
hurting my brain a little. I mean, like, why should this hurt my brain? It's because I've been conditioned to like think certain things within a certain context.
Lizards are
yeah,
dumb.
Well, it's not
lizards
that.
have lizard brains.
It's just you don't expect to see like, I don't know, are there going to be machine guns or something at the end of the series?
Hmm,
That would make Korab very happy.
that
Mm.
that would make I don't know if it would horrify or delight the Malazans.
I guess like the Moranth munitions and the way that who was that new new dude that
Oh, the Lethari alchemist.
yeah, I guess like working
Yeah,
together with him, like they could progress the technology of those weapons to get to like machine gun level, probably.
yeah, yeah. The world of Malazan right now is like it's right in the middle of like enormous change in this department. Yeah, the world just hasn't caught up yet.
More ways to kill each other.
More ways to kill it.
Yeah.
Ooh, mechanized slaughter. Chapter 9. The Lethari male government flees from the female government so they can talk about each other. The Malazan army prepares to leave for the wasteland while their soldiers fall victim to a local disease. Like, okay, the summary obviously skips over it. Everybody talks to everybody. Everybody in both of these factions talks to every other person at both of these factions. How am I supposed to write summaries for this?
Like
Oh,
that.
Dead Smell talks with Bottle. Korab talks with well, he talks with Bottle in the previous chapter. Korab talks with Tar. Smiles talks to the heavies. The heavies talk about nefarious bread.
I guess it's like
So
what
many.
is the outcome of all these
They're just talking.
conversations? I
It's
don't
just
Nothing.
sad.
know.
Nothing. They're
It's
just
just
wasting time.
I don't think so. Are you being serious?
Well, I mean, like
Mm,
there is
this
significance to these conversations. It's usually not plot significance.
Hmm.
this
Okay.
chapter is fun and mostly fluffy.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the nefarious bread's footprint. I like the ideas about the uh, local disease that is killing the intruders.
Yeah.
It's
I
very
like how
anthropological.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like how they mention it's it's normally the other way that this happens. And then Fiddler also gives this really sad story of the
Yeah.
time He and the
Admiral
Malazans
Knock.
visit like this isolated
That was my favorite
island.
part of the chapter. And he's like, "You should stop worshiping me because I'm terrible." And everyone's just like, "Oh my god, I love you, Fiddler. I'll follow you to the ends of the world." And
He's so
I was thinking the same
wise.
thing. I'm like, "Man, Fiddler, you're the best. I
Yeah.
must
Yes,
protect you."
yes. Although more likely he would protect you, because that's how it
Because
goes.
he's the best.
Yes. No, I
No,
really
yeah, that
enjoyed.
story. Go ahead.
I really enjoyed that story, and it's like a nice little twist on like our history, where like the Native Americans got sick and died off because the invaders gave them blankets with smallpox, and this is a nice twist where it's like, oh, that was not intentional, and
hmm
not really try to save them, but
This is why we need the Prime Directive.
okay.
No, like all the best Star Trek, all my favorite Star Trek episodes are about the Prime Directive and how, like, sometimes it works really well where you could go into somewhere and you could help them out and have altruistic motives and everything turns out fine. And sometimes even the best, like, intentions can really screw people over.
hmm
Yeah.
And like at that point, like, I mean, where's the morality? Like, are you supposed to help people? Or are you just supposed to stick back? And that's why Star Trek's great.
I prefer the episode where they split Kirk into an evil Kirk, and the evil Kirk wears mascara to indicate how evil he is.
Hey, that
Mm.
episode's awesome.
There's also the evil dog and the good dog.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
sorry, alien species.
Oh.
Go ahead, Amanda.
No, it's like in anthropology and, like any sort of biologist, like when you're studying animals, there is that, you're not supposed to interact, like try to leave as small of a footprint as possible. And like if I were part of shooting a nature documentary and I see a cute and fluffy animal about to get eaten by its predator, like I'm gonna want to save it. But then the predator may die, and then there may be an overpopulate, So it's like
Yep.
I'm not cut out for that kind of thing.
Yeah, like it's yeah. The problem is you find a system that is probably at least partially in balance, and you have no idea what's going to set it into wild imbalance.
Right.
But yeah, we do intervene sometimes. Like the tribe that had Kuru, like the tribe that was eating their ancestors' brains. I'm pretty sure we intervened there and saved lives as a result. But like you never know what's going to happen, really. Yeah, same when you're introducing any invasive species into a new environment. Like
Yeah.
it can be done for good, and it can also destroy entire ecosystems.
Right.
Complicated.
Yeah,
It
and this
is.
is a fantastic example of like how like there are no ethical systems that like are really good at dealing with this. Like what do? You like the yeah.
It's because you have imperfect information, right? Like if we were able to know all, then sure, we would probably be able to make quote unquote the right decision. But
hmm
we have imperfect information, so
Things are too complicated. People are too complicated. Well, systems are too complicated. People are simple.
Causality is complicated.
Cause
yeah.
yeah.
I really enjoy the beginning of this chapter.
It was funny.
Yeah.
I guess maybe like because it's my first time reading it, maybe it gets old, three,
Not for
four
me.
times.
It's not that it got old, like because it was really funny. It's just like I said, this whole chapter just kind of felt like fluff, and I don't know, fluff is wrong because like I said, I really did enjoy it, and there were really some good character moments, and you got Fiddler's story, and I want to talk about the Dead Smell story about Hood because that was great.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that's my other quote.
Um, it's just I feel like I've seen this before from Taeho and Bug. Like this is like in this book so far, this is the only part that I just didn't love with Taeho and Bug, if that makes sense.
It's to me, it wasn't necessarily the Tail and Bug dynamic. It was Janath and Shirk, and then
Mm.
the introduction and actually getting to see the 14th daughter and the
That was
maid.
fun.
And that was like really descriptive, what they looked like, what they wore, what their personalities were like. These were new characters being introduced, and there was, the chancellor, the Bokonado chancellor and conquestor, um, being afraid of this woman, right? So that it was like really fun to actually get to see what these characters were like, and the women getting more page time than the men.
hmm Yeah, so like the it was very descriptive, which is odd because Dale and Bugs section, well, the Letheri comedy sections, let's say, they're some of the you get some of the least amounts of description, direct description from everything in the series, right? Like half of the humor is often like from the dialogue, figuring out
Yeah, from the
what kind of
banter.
What the situation is from the dialogue, yeah.
like the sex toy, you
Mm,
know.
yes, the
um,
Uchulu.
in this section. Yeah, it's just a lot of hidden physical comedy that I always like. But yeah, the section with Janath and Shirk, excellent. The Volcano Princess, excellent. No notes there for me.
There was a line from Bug that I would love on a T-shirt. Divide to conquer the divide. Sir, that's my motto. And Teo was like, what does that mean? I don't know.
He's a wise man, that Bug.
Uh-huh.
So do you think Dead Smell has the correct or most accurate opinion of Hood based on what we know?
Think so. I mean, especially when we saw with Hood, like, he did spare one of the characters. Remember the Death Walk?
Mm-hmm. How can I forget?
Yeah. So I do think I think Dead Smell's characterization of Hood is closer to the truth.
Hood is a character that just keeps getting cooler. You know, we still know almost nothing about him, and like every time he shows up, it's like, man, Hood is awesome. He's like one of 3 gods in Malazan that isn't awful.
Okay, Flybody Hood is Pinnacle Hood.
Hmm?
Flybody from Deadhouse Gates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, sure, it doesn't hold up to the end of Toll of Hounds because nothing does. But I mean, that was you said he keeps getting cooler, but like he was pretty damn cool in book 2.
Okay, if you're saying book 2 is the coolest he gets besides Toll the Hounds, I gotta disagree with you there.
When does he have a flybody that disapparates?
Okay, we can talk about this later.
Okay, I know what you're talking about, and it's pretty cool.
It's cooler.
I think
Okay.
it's subjective. Whatever your definition of
No,
cool is, they're not aligned.
no, I will not accept this
Okay.
matter of taste.
All right, so Nefarious Bread's definitely real, right? He's got a footprint.
No.
Yeah, there's a footprint.
Freaking
There's physical evidence of this man
Oh my
now.
goodness. Do you think Sasquatch is real?
Huh? What does that have to do with anything?
People say, "Oh, look, here's Sasquatch's footprint. Must be real."
I trust the opinion of Vastly Blank. Do you not?
Yes, yes. We have this on recording. Yes.
I love what he says to Smile. It's like, you're stupid. I hate you. You're dumb. And then like five lines later, they're best of friends.
Uh-huh. I do really like that section where Dead Smell says like basically relays what Hood told him, right? And the way that Hood's like the way to I guess like quote unquote worship me is
Okay.
to fight me. Like
Spit in my
save
face.
as many yeah. Save as many as you can.
That's the one I highlighted.
Oh, go ahead, read it.
One moment. The game is this: steal their lives, snatch them away from my reach. Curse these hands you now see, the nails black with death's touch. Spit into this lifeless breath of mine. Cheat me at every turn. Heed this truth. There is no other form of service as honest as the one I offer you. To do battle against me, you must acknowledge my power, even as I acknowledge yours. You must respect the fact that I always win, that you cannot help but fail. In turn, I must give you my respect for your courage, for the stubborn refusal that is a mortal's greatest strength. For all that, mortal, give me a good game.
You know, this actually resonates as well with what Fiddler was saying about optimism and pessimism, where it's like if you're too much of an optimist, like that's not good. But
Oh, that was a great line, yeah.
yeah, there's a
It means
balance of
nothing if you're an optimist if you don't do anything about it.
right,
Mm-hmm. If you close your eyes to the suffering of everything, yeah,
exactly. And then if you're too much of a pessimist, then you're just gonna end up dead, basically. Like you probably commit suicide. And so there's that balance of knowing of being a pessimist but still working so hard and doing, what you can to
Or
fight
being an optimist and still trying the same thing.
or that, I guess. But yeah, to me, like it's Dead Smells section and then Fiddler's section is kind of saying the same thing. And then honestly, for Fiddler's section though, what really like was the clinch in that section is Briss saying that that is where heroes are found. Yeah,
A fitting
Dead Smell's
poem
a
for this
hero.
section. Dead Smell is a hero. I love Dead Smell. He's so cool. Another fitting poem for this book, I think, would be Rage Against the Dying of the Light. You guys not heard it?
Rage
It's a really good
Against-
poem. I recommend it.
Sure. Poetry. Puh.
Oh,
There is
yes. Okay.
yeah. Grim Men Who See with Blinding Sight.
By Dylan
That's,
Thomas.
Yeah. Okay. I guess for the sake of listeners, I should
It's Do Not
read
Go
some of it.
Gentle Into That Good Night is the name of the poem.
That's it. That's it. Yes. Do not
Ah.
go gentle into that good night. Yes. Sorry. I totally misled.
I know that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's essentially what Hood says to Dead Smell there.
Yeah.
Cool. So fun chapter. Lots of good character moments. Chapter 10.
Okay. Chapter 10. The Snake Hunter Barghest are wiped out by mysterious forces. Tool takes a Barghest war party to scout out the devastation. The Kachan Jamal city resurrects a worker drone. Yedendarig bodies a Forkul assail and Leos' scouting party when Jan Tovis faints.
Tool is too good for the Barghest.
Yeah.
They don't deserve him.
Nope.
Yes, they are horrible.
It's like book 3, you're like, oh, Barghest, they're fun. You got Trots, and this guy with the big hammer, he seems pretty cool. And we got Hayton, she's quirky. And then book 9 Barghest is like, we kill everything. Rape fun. Kill. We need to find an enemy.
Torture.
Tool and your stupid feelings.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love how Steve refuses to glamorize tribal societies.
Nope.
Like there are a lot of them that are functional in these books, and there are a lot that are horrible. And that tracks. Both existed. Like, not that they were tribal at all. They are very much imperialist, but we can think of them as like the helpless natives. The Aztec Empire, horrifying. It's like
They just make me mad.
yes, they're awful.
Yeah. Tool's too good for them. We could talk about that in 2 chapters when he gets stabbed by them or by himself by them.
Panda,
Yes.
what do you think? What do you think these mysterious storms are? Are they just storms?
I've been trying to figure it out, and I feel like okay. I'll kind of talk through my thinking process, right? So I was like, oh, storm. Maybe it's like a bunch of creatures that are like stampeding. And they're so powerful that they're just like kicking up a lot of dust that it looks like a sandstorm. But then further on in book 2, there's description of lightning and hail and all of that. So to me, it's like, okay, this is magic? It's like a magical storm, maybe? And there must be an eye in the storm, is my thinking. And so there's someone that is in the eye of the storm that is super powerful. But who that is, what that is, I don't know.
I'm so disappointed. Tool took like 3 seconds to figure it out.
Oh my god. He's in world, okay? He has way more information than I do.
Yeah, and he hasn't received a public education either, so it balances out.
What is that supposed to mean?
I'm just saying.
He's a dumb proto-human with a big forehead and he's dumb. And you're supposed to be some smart modern
Okay, let me
person.
ask
You
you
can't
this.
figure it
Yeah.
out.
When you read this for the first time, did you know what the storm was?
Hell no.
Am I anywhere close?
I was just reading this book and I was like perpetually confused right up until the end.
You had you're tiptoeing towards the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see. Do I have to like forget everything I know and just like be really, really open and think really like mind-bendy ways to figure out the storm?
No. I mean, we could talk about what's revealed, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go back and be like, "Oh, I see. Okay."
Yeah, and, like, you
So there
could
are
guess it at this point,
crumbs.
but I don't think many people do.
Mostly based on language cues,
There.
like associations.
Okay. Hurin, does this not remind you of the Battle of the Linguist Mages with that
I tried to
storm?
forget everything about that book.
That chaos storm that's like inhaling intelligence? No? Okay.
It sounds vaguely familiar. I would just like to say that I do not recommend this book to anyone.
The linguist mages, of course.
Yes.
Well, the problem there is that the I don't think the Barghest have like a collective brain cell, so there's no intelligence to suck in.
Hey,
Oh.
Hathon's dad seemed alright.
He's dead.
Yeah, Hathon's dad seemed alright. Her
Yeah,
brothers,
I mean, like Kafal is also right,
I like Kafal.
and yeah,
I think we're supposed to though.
yeah. Like I feel really bad for Kafal actually. He's just like seeing his people, like he sees exactly what's going wrong, and he can't do anything to stop it.
And
Uh-huh.
I think a theme of this chapter I noticed was that older people seeing the decline of their own culture in the young people. And I was just thinking, especially in terms of the Barghast, like, is it worth saving? Because
Yeah, right.
like that kind of thing happens all the time, literally all the time, where cultures change, and then older people, the conservatives, and like they have a point. Like sometimes these cultures they should be kept up and they should be remembered and they should. But I don't know. There's always that balance between new and old. And I
Hmm.
just did a quest in Tears of the Kingdom related to this.
Incredible. Huron's playing the Zelda game.
It was in Hatenel Village, and they're like, "Oh man, do we do we take on this modern idea, or do we stick to our roots?" Deep, man.
Most of the time, it's just like, do we include technology or no? And then it's clearly yes. You should include the technology. You should make sure your people aren't starving to death or whatever.
I don't think it's most of the time. I think it's more
Mm.
complicated than that, but that is part of it, certainly.
No, like sorry, I mean in stories it's like that. In real life,
Ah,
I think of course it's more complicated.
yeah.
There's this running joke that millennials are killing off so many things that have been like staples in particularly like American society, American culture, like fabric softener, mayonnaise, the top sheet, like these like things, just like
Diamonds.
millennials are killing like blah blah blah. And to me, I'm like, well, if the product is no longer meeting the needs of the consumer, like, you should be pivoting. It's not like, "Oh, because this thing has lasted, like, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, we should continue to keep it going." Like, if
Now
it
you see,
doesn't
the
work.
market's wrong when it doesn't support the things that the old people like.
Yeah, that's what capitalism is. It's
It's
yeah, and like the like $100,000 wedding industries, or like like
yes.
no one's getting expensive weddings anymore. Basically, seen so much
Because they're
complaining about that
dumb.
because yeah.
Anyway,
Thanks,
I
as
hope.
somebody who had an expensive or two weddings, one very good and very cheap, and one that was not as good and very expensive.
Oh, I feel terrible taking on like enormous amount. Well, I don't know if you want to take just paying enormous for enormous thing, and it's worse than the cheap one.
It's complicated.
That's fair. That is fair.
Yeah, they better adapt. Anyway.
Yeah, a lot of this is kind of like adapt or die. This book, like
Yeah.
beyond the notion of paired opposites. Well, I guess this is another paired opposite. Like tradition versus progress. Obviously, is a recurring thing in fantasy.
So, Polly and Squish use Twilight's blood to open a warren. Yes?
And while I was there, why not, sap some of that power and get young?
Okay.
Don't say you wouldn't do the same.
So so is it because they're royalty and they're part Andy? Ty-Sandy? Like how does that work?
The Shake and the Watch are the leaders, and they're kind of their direct connection to the Andy is not entirely clear right now. We just know they're connected, but the Shake are kind of like their own thing too, and in her blood is power.
Yeah, and witches and warlocks are very good at feeding off of power,
Especially blood.
especially blood.
Okay. So they could
Yeah.
have used anything. It's just that she was there and she has more power.
Well, they couldn't have to open the gate to Galen. They could not have used anything. It had to be
Yeah, and Tovis is
royal
power.
blood. Well, actually,
Royal
they also say like they would need like a dozen witches and warlocks to keep the way open in the
Right.
absence of the royal blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just read and find out.
Featherwitch is a ghost.
Spoilers. I thought that was breath.
I thought that
Um,
was revealed this chapter.
If it was, I did not catch it.
yeah, so we'll go over it a bit. When the ghosts, so this is actually chapter 8, but when the ghosts' companions in the Forker city, when the ghost companions are reminiscing, one of them is a caster of the tiles, and the physical description is a small blonde girl.
Okay, so I didn't realize they were describing what, like, one of them. I thought they were just talking
Yeah,
about there was a caster
they're
of the
all they're all reminiscing about their past lives.
Okay,
Their
got it.
what led them to this, and yeah. So in Feather Witch's case, like it mentions that she was Feather, and
Right, right,
right
right.
now her like head is caked in mud,
Okay.
and it kind of goes over her rationale for why she acted the way she did throughout her life, and it does this for all of them, and it like they all have like kind of really heartbreakingly sad stories in my opinion, but they were all self-inflicted as well, it
Mhm.
seemed.
I just like getting an overview from Feather Witch about the new Warrens from Ikariam. I thought it was interesting and
Yeah,
worth looking at later after you
it's
finish the
probably a
books.
spoilers thing, right?
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
definitely a
know,
spoilers thing.
but like the new quote Warren structure is
Mhm.
so confusing.
It is really, really confusing. It's
The
so
more you
complex.
learn, it's like, what's going on?
Well, I have kind of like a meta question then. It's like, what's the point? Like, why even try to explain it? Since Steve is very much like, it's just soft magic. You don't need to understand how it works. It just does.
I think it's a logical consequence. The oldest, there's something more older, but let's start with the holds, right? The holds were kind of this raw power based on, I guess, larger ideas, and then the Warrens are more focused and what's the right word? Specialized.
Bounded.
And then after that, it just becomes like a even larger abstraction with Ikariam.
Yeah. So the evolution of the holds, the Warrens, and well, like the tribal magic before all this, and then what's coming now, does yeah, it mirrors ideological quote progress in the world, and so they're reflecting a lot of the cultural ideas that are going around at the time.
And soft spoilers, the end of the series is kind of about magic in a large way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, just stay tuned. I actually really liked. I think it was Rautos's story where it's him and his wife, and they both can't let go of the past. They want their younger son. They want to be married to their younger partner, not their current partner, and they just kind of refuse to adapt, and they just kind of like turn into miserable sacks of meat. I think it says at the end.
Yeah, Rautos is definitely a miserable sack of meat.
Yeah, it's just like the horrors of aging was explored there. Should we go to chapter 11? Excellent. Chapter 11. King Tehol practices diplomacy with the Ukraini. Erastus convinces Knuckles and Kilmandaros to go out into the world again. Ablala Pung acquires some swag. We get more time with the increasingly restless Malazans. Devor receives a knife from Bug. That's a cool knife. That's all I
Hmm.
gotta say.
Some foreshadowing.
You probably won't be surprised by my favorite part of this chapter. It was the conversation between Tehol and Bug about the complexity of having tribal ancestral lands. And what does that
Right?
even mean?
Like,
Mhm.
whose land does this belong to? It's traded hands so many times, and if you have migratory tribes, what does it even mean for it to be their land? They're migratory. More discussions on the impossibility of actually adjudicating these conflicts.
And the back to the idea of gift giving and the
Yeah.
obligations that gives to the owner and the receiver, and then he has to give it to people below him.
Hmm.
I'm with Tehol on that. He's just like it's what.
It's a gift. I mean, like that is a naive way of thinking about it,
It
but
is.
yeah.
Wait, what part is naive?
The idea that like a gift is just a gift. You can just give a
Oh,
gift
I
and
see.
someone can
Okay.
enjoy it, and it won't invoke any kind of obligation on the part of the person receiving the gift.
Basically wishful thinking for people who literally just want to give a gift. And
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily wishful thinking. I think it's that people could just genuinely have good intentions and they just want to give things to other people because that's their love language.
Yep.
Sure. Like absolutely. Like you can have you can have totally pure intentions when you're giving gifts, I think. But at the same time, the person who's receiving the gift, like it does impose an obligation on them, whether like that's intended or not. Because like if someone gives you a gift, let's say, and then okay, if you give me a gift and then the next thing I do is like spit in your face, like that would be people would judge me for that. Let's say.
It is complicated, and culture changes expectations and obligations a lot, a lot, a lot. Just personalities, identities, all of this makes it very
It's true.
complicated. And it also
Yeah.
reminds me of the story that Fiddler gave, where they literally gave somebody some gifts and they died because of it.
And he killed a third of them, I think it was,
Yeah. I mean,
including
this
the
was
chief.
definitely very much like an anthropologist inserting anthropological theory into a fantasy story. I think I mentioned this like really early on when we were starting to talk about Malazan, because this did come up before, and the whole like gift giving theory was from Marcel Mauss. And then so many people afterwards have written in response to him. It's just fascinating uh, to read and think about, because we do it so often without thinking about it, and we are taught to. Like,
Hmm.
at least like in American culture, when you go to a birthday party, you're expected to bring a gift, right, to honor the host. In Asian, like in my Asian background, you're not supposed to go to anybody's home when you're visiting empty-handed. Like you're always supposed to bring
Hmm.
something, right? And
I've heard
that
that a thing
part
here
of,
too.
yeah, part of it is being respectful. But
That's
yeah,
why my Chinese friend brings things.
yeah, we're taught like it's disrespectful to go empty-handed.
Interesting. Yeah, I thought you
Yeah.
just saw some cool bookmarks and wanted me to have them.
But that also brings up the 1914 Christmas truce during World War
Yeah,
One, where all these different parties who are supposed to be enemies, and they were exchanging gifts.
playing soccer.
Joyeux Noël.
Yeah,
Yes, I love that movie.
that's like it's a beautiful story, and it's also absolutely heartbreaking because they weren't allowed to do that again.
Right. And then they had to go back to killing each other.
They had to go. Yeah, the next day they had to go back to killing each
Well,
other.
they got like disbanded and like moved to other, you know,
Yeah,
squads and stuff, but they had to go back to killing the other side.
there was a Canadian contingent. I don't know how widespread it was that they had exchanged gifts, and then the Canadians, I think that evening or the next day, conducted a trench raid to take the presents back.
Oh,
What
no take backsies.
are you gonna do? Kill me?
Uh, what is binding of blood? Like Janath said that to Bug, and Bug's like, "Oh, I forget you're a scholar. You know these things."
You know the concept.
Elder gods especially require blood, specifically
Okay, so
blood
it's just
sacrifices.
the. Got it. Okay.
Well, and also that it's referenced here. So, like gift giving, the sacrifices, the blood sacrifices that you make for gods allow you to incur obligations from them.
Mm-hmm.
Like worship forces
Yeah.
reciprocity. So, Malik Rel, that's one of the primary ways he had power, is because as a Gistal priest, Gistal priests are like they make blood sacrifices. He had a very strong hold on me on his power because he's giving all these quote gifts and fueling Mael's power, and in return he's like, okay, now you got to do something for me.
That reminds me. Sorry. Oh, for our listeners, go read Forge of the High Mage, because a lot of that's about that.
Mm.
Okay. Then does he like do human sacrifices, or is just like any sort of
Yeah,
creature? Oh,
yeah, it's human sacrifices.
Uh,
ew.
In the Book of the Fallen, I don't think they actually ever mention human sacrifice. I think you just say
Um,
blood sacrifices.
they do reference the Gistal, or sorry, they I think there's someone who talks about the Gistal in the Book of the Fallen, I believe, and it's like, yeah, these people are awful. They do like they do human sacrifices.
Mm, okay. I wouldn't be surprised at all. And in fact, I know more than you, so I'm not going to say anything. But
Hmm. I might be misremembering from something from Cam's works. I don't think it's really a spoiler though.
in
It's
the
just
glossary of one of the books, it says the Gestal were priests who did blood sacrifices.
Are these like willing participants?
That's complicated.
Do you think that Malik Rel would require willing participants?
I mean, he's one example of a Gestalt priest. I don't know if he's
True.
representative of all of them.
If
That's fair.
if you're the power in a group of people and you create a culture that celebrates sacrifices. I mean, well, hell, we live with one. Hey, die for your country, whatever. Are those people willing?
I see what you mean. Okay.
11? 12.
There
One
is
second.
a mention of an entity most skilled at remaining a mystery to us all. Our data, our data. And the only person I know that's aligned to that spider goddess thing is Morgora. And
Yeah, who's married to a high priest of shadow.
how does she really fit into all
Healed
this?
our boy Mappo. Which you haven't seen
Yeah.
Mappo. Where's Mappo?
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of lost interest in Mappo. Yeah.
And they also reference other beings that they think exist, but no one's ever seen them. They might be just as powerful, but there's
It's actually really
yeah, who
interesting.
knows?
It's like the gods, they don't all know each other and they're just like, "Oh, did you hear about so and so? Another one popped up." It's like mutants finding other mutants or something.
They're like fishwives in a small town. Yeah, I quite like the conversation they have here. And Knuckles, hey, looks like he originally had a Forkrulous sail form. Isn't that interesting? Like a god of chance being a deity of these people obsessed with justice. That's interesting.
Hmm.
That's interesting. Kind of like a Harvey Two-Face kind of
I
thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay. When you put it that way, then yes. So do the Malazans know about the Volcanado, like the rumor that there's going to be trouble in Volcanado because like Janath told them? Like how would they know?
The Lothari know about the Volcando.
Yeah, you just assume that the Lothari tells the Malazans what's important.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've had like a kind of a Cold War thing going on.
One of my favorite moments in this chapter is when there was the meeting of the sergeants and they keep poking at Fiddler, trying to get more information out of him. Like, what do you know? Like, you know what the adjunct is planning. What is it? What do you know? And he basically is like, look, we're we're not gonna come back. Like the deck reading was not normal. It's not looking good for us. And finally they're like, okay, cool. Now that we've got that out of the way,
Mhm.
let's get down to business.
Let's become the best badasses that we can.
They just like they're adults. They want to be treated like adults, and
Yeah.
yeah, they don't want the truth hidden from them. They want the truth, which is excellent. Tavor is trying to shield them from that, which is admirable because she doesn't want them to become like hopeless,
Right.
right?
But
But
I think
yeah, at the same time,
this
they've kind of
this is
earned
what
it.
it there's like practical application to like our own lives where, you know, for example, like if you mess up at work, right? You may want to hide it, you might not want to own up to it. It really depends on the impact, right? Like if it's going to be better to just like clear it up and admit to it, then there's more of a chance that it can be set right. Um, because something that's hidden, you know, kept in secret, like if it's really a problem, you're probably not gonna be able to fix it yourself, especially if it's more a systematic thing. Um, so yeah, that's like one of the lessons that I learned during my career is it's okay to make mistakes as long as you do see it as a learning opportunity and
Hmm.
you actually work to learn from it.
Yeah, and don't it, covering it up only for it to be revealed later makes it so much worse.
Yeah.
Don't let it fester. That's a terrible idea.
And this goes back to, you know, that section where Phil was talking about optimism and pessimism and like I guess Tavor kind of underestimated her sergeants, her troops,
Hmm.
right? Like trying to shield them from what she knows or thinks is coming, like is actually doing more harm than good.
Mommy Tavor. I like how the little aside she has with Lostara Yil where she says, "Stop playing with your dagger." Because that's become a thing for Lostara. She's just been polishing a dagger over and over and over again. It's become a
Right.
compulsive habit. And yeah, it turns out Tavora's noticed, and she's like, "It's okay, you're okay." It's just like a little sign that Tavor cares, and she notices so much more than she lets on.
Yeah, there was
Um,
quite a bit of acknowledgement that she has information. She is figuring things out, but the question is how. Like, who is feeding her this information? How is she, like, where is she gaining enough knowledge to figure it out on her own? And it's kept very mysterious. And I know it's like, okay, on purpose. And back in, I think it was, yeah, Gardens of the Moon, there was the bone phone, the finger bone or something that was used to communicate. And that was revealed as the way, like, Dujek got his
mhm.
information.
And Steve quickly forgot about it.
Until now, maybe? Who knows?
Oh, that's an idea.
Bottle is saying that he's been trying to spy on her with his rats, and like it would take a real master to fool these rats.
Uh-huh.
What's going on?
Yeah, who could it be?
Who could it be? If anybody is helping her at all, like maybe not. Maybe Tavor's just a lone agent.
I
It can't be
don't
magic
think
though.
she's that capable on her own. I think she's smart. She's like a strategist, but these are things where it's like it's very specific knowledge. I guess she did study up a lot when she was young, like she read a lot on history and all of these things, but some of this knowledge is like very niche. So unless she found some like magic book or something.
You're asking good questions.
Also, remember she was not assigned a card during the reading. She got nothing. Is that
I
weird?
still don't
She's the only. She didn't get anything.
I really don't know what that means. Maybe she is the deck.
The deck. Hmm.
She is the deck.
Troubling implications if her brother is the master of the deck.
Well, there you go. And that's why they're not on speaking terms.
That's just too weird.
There are talons in the midst.
Yeah. Yes. Just remember the Chekhov's gun that has been established here. Tavor's knife from Bug, or
Yes.
alternatively, the ornamental useless thing that she received.
That is not ornamental, useless thing. He said use it when it's necessary, and she knows what that means.
And she just like goes entirely white. Yeah. Actually, interesting that the chapter opens with a useless gift that's just given no obligation, and then ends with a gift given freely. That is, potentially quite
So
useful.
my first speculation was, okay, maybe this knife is for her to kill herself when the moment is right. But now I'm really thinking, no, she's meant to kill somebody else.
Hmm.
And maybe it's Bug, maybe it's her brother, maybe it's, somebody important and close
Ellison
to
back
her.
from the dead. Should get out to kill her twice.
I don't think that's gonna happen. But
Yeah, Bug gives her this dagger because Tahol asks him to just like do whatever he can for them because he doesn't want to lose Briss again. That's
Oh,
Tahol is so scared for Briss.
it's like this is one of the. Every once in a while, you get like real, like I don't know, you get shown emotional depth from Tahol, and every time it hits hard just because of how silly he is. But man,
yeah,
that one was good.
He's like Robin Williams, you know.
he puts on the
Mm.
humor as a defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while he gives you a Goodwill Hunting.
Harlist was back. I like that.
Harlist
Nice
is
seeing
back.
credits.
He's like middle-aged Harlist who's kind of like down about life now.
Kids aren't even scared of me anymore.
He's falling apart. He's too cynical. He's been shown that his dream of being a scary monster was foolish from the start. He really embodies the theme of this book.
Or Harlist. But yeah, Ublala got some new armor. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Got a bonk stick.
But he didn't get to meet up with Shirk.
He really wanted to be on that boat.
Yeah, Shirk wanted him too.
Yeah.
Poor Shirk. Where's she gonna get her?
Yeah.
How's she gonna feed her Utulu now?
I mean, there are other sailors on the boat, right?
None of them are quite Ublala though.
No, that was quite a lot. She had a thing with Ruthan Good as well. Yeah.
Took me a while, but I get it.
A lot of
now.
mystery about Good, isn't there? Like his thinking, and then Scannero's like, "Hey, Ruthan, I'm keeping my eye on you," and he's like, "Oh, I gotta stay away from her." Oh man,
Yeah.
what would Greymane do?
What would Greymane do? My best friend Greymane.
And he was described as a typhoon. Interesting.
Who? Sen or Greymane.
Ruthen and Good was described as a typhoon of power from Scanaro, and he was just like, I gotta stay away from her.
Is he like the son of Bug?
Maybe.
I got no comment there.
Okay.
An idea.
Chapter 12?
I'm fine with
Chapter 12. Tool gains the loyalty of his tribe and promptly kills himself. The Ikrani and another Barghast tribe are annihilated. Torrent meets Olar Ethel. The Sheikh arrive in Carcanos. Okay, Panda, were you ready for the second... Wait, what's this? No, this is the first time Tools really died. But wasn't this a rough way to go out?
So here's the thing. I was getting upset, right? And then it was fairly quickly revealed, like, okay, this is not going to be the end of Tool. Which, at this point in the series, like, whoever dies, I'm like, I don't buy it. That's the problem. So I think it was more the emotional, like, connection that Tool was able to build with his most critical of critics.
Well, he killed the most critical one.
Yeah, he killed the worst one.
Okay,
Which was pretty
sorry.
satisfying.
The secondary, the runner-ups. And being able to see him win them over in that way, that was the emotional punch. But him himself dying, I'm just like, I'm gonna see you again. Like, there's no way.
I mean, okay, Olar Ethel says basically, I'm not going to let him get away that easy.
Right.
Do you think he's gonna be just go back into his village and be like, hey, wife and kids, let's go?
No.
Well, then I think his death does at least mean something.
Yeah.
No, it was just so satisfying to see him. Hey, guys, listen to me. I killed this dude. This is bad. We need to run away. And they're like, yeah, Tula, we're behind you. Oh man, it's just everything's going to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, he almost pulls it off, and then
So close.
he gets screwed over by this random war party that's coming across them.
You know it's
Yeah.
coming too because we've had that POV since the beginning of the chapter, just go back and forth, back and forth, back and
Yep.
forth.
Yeah.
And by the time they're there, you're like, oh man, there's absolutely no way that they're getting out of this. It just sucked. So like I said, Tool, it's too good for the Barghast.
Yep.
Way too good for the Barghast. I really like the Ikrani as well here. They're there's very little of them here, but their military doctrine is it's like a steppe tribe basically. Yeah, they're just gonna deal with the Barghast pretty handily, it seems.
Yeah.
The battle looks a bit touch and go for a moment there, but I'm totally certain they would have won in the end. And then they just both get wiped out by this completely unanticipated third force that they kind of saw off in the distance and are like, no, we have time. We can deal with this. We can deal with our own personal bullshit before this looming existential threat comes to kill us all.
Yeah. It was interesting to see how, from each perspective they thought they had outsmarted the other side. And I mean, the Barghast still, they almost made it. They got
charge uphill into a defended position and almost
right.
break through.
Yeah. So you got to give them that. I was thinking though,
Yeah.
back on the Tool thing, where I don't remember his name, but the guy that Tool made him stab Tool, he was telling Tool, buy our loyalty with the truth. Gift us all with an even measure, right? Yes, this is how one leads. Anything else is suspect. And this is continues back, the different, Tool was trying to shield them from the truth about the storm. Just like how Tabor was trying to shield them, the matzo balls, with not letting them know what was really going on. And yeah, honesty and transparency. You gotta trust your people.
Then you run into the problem of, what happens if they know too much and their worldview is shattered, and what do they do now? Too much wisdom. Are they going to drown? What's going to happen?
But that's kind of the thing. That's kind of the burden on the leader is do you feel like there's a way out? Do you feel like there's hope? And if you don't, how do you overcome that yourself to lead your people?
A lot of questions without any easy answers. He's not. There are no answers in this book. I think it's just more and more difficult questions, and the easy answers all being refuted one by one.
Although reading the part about how that other tribe tore apart Tool's body, that was
Desecrated it.
yeah, that was hard.
Not a sword though. Yep. 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 Yep.
Yeah. It's pretty horrible. And oh god, the Barkas are just the worst. Like they're like before when they're hunting down the merchants, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have some sport with the merchant's wife and children. And the
Yeah.
wives know, like they kill the children and then themselves. And they're like, oh, we got cheated out of our sport. Damn it. Bastards.
Yeah, the next reading section's not going to be pleasant.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be so much worse. Brace yourself, Panda.
Great.
Yep. Olar Ethel is pretty cool in this section, I think.
I kind of like her in this part.
I kind of
Only
really
this part.
You know what? I might be coming around to Olar Ethel. I think
Oh,
I might become an
no.
Olar Ethel stan.
Boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
Panda, what are your initial impressions of Olar Ethel?
She's an old lady, and she is she's gonna tell it as it is, and she's gonna do what she wants.
Did you notice that she's an elder god?
Maybe.
Okay. They were the group of elder gods with Mandy and Knuckles, and they were talking about Olar Ethel, who
Oh
embraced
yeah,
the
they were
death.
mentioning her, right? Yes,
Okay.
I did note
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, she participated in the ritual of Talan with
Right.
the IMAS, which is a super weird thing for Elder God to do, right? Like, why would they do this themselves? So she's at least pretty hardcore. She's pretty metal. But if you remember, all the way back in Memories of Ice, she's the undead dragon that they were
Yes.
riding through the Warrens, right? She's the
I remember that.
bonecaster that was the only one talking to outsiders.
Yes.
Yeah, she's
I like her.
Manipulative.
I don't have anything against her yet.
excellent. Yeah, see, we'll both be Olar Ethel stands by the end of this.
I hate you both.
She's
Why?
just a kindly old grandmother.
What's
She would
wrong
probably
with
bake people
her?
cookies if they asked.
Okay. Okay.
Just yeah,
Okay,
we'll
that
read
that
and we
I
will
don't
find out
think
if there is
so,
anything
but
wrong with her.
okay. I'm sure there will be. Shall we get
Her
to
conversation with Torrent is pretty cool though. I like how she recognizes the blood link between them, and they're even though like there's the widest possible gulf between them, they find like a common ground to kind of chat with each other about. That's really nice.
Yeah. Shall we get to listener questions?
One more thing regarding futility and destroyed illusions. When the Shake arrive in Carcass, and it's like the
Oh,
Shake
yeah.
that like the most jaded and dark and gloomy of all people. They're like, okay,
The Dead City. Yay.
it's a dead city. Wow, we've come here for nothing. Everything is horrible. I feel
Well,
so bad for the Shake.
they're like worse than the Andy, I guess.
Yeah, they have it. They definitely have it worse, I think. Yeah, we can go to listener questions.
All right. We got from Lady Sweden. Do you like this book in the book? Yeah. I mean, I don't hate it. It's fine.
What was it called? Eaters of Gems and...
Diamonds?
Something like that.
Yeah. I don't really
I don't
It's a cool
understand the
name.
title.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed this book personally.
Dead House Gates might end up being my second favorite book in the series after this reread, which is wild.
Wow.
Yeah, no, this one's really good. It's got all the
Oh.
Dead House Gates?
I don't know where. Well, okay, I ranked Dead House Gates highly.
You just said
I don't know.
Dead House Gates might rank second.
Oh no, sorry, Dust of Dreams. This book.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, this book might rank as my second favorite.
Interesting.
I've been quite liking it.
Yeah, it's a hot take in the community, I think. Most
It is
people
a hot
think
take
that
in the
Dust of
community, and I don't know why. See, like personally, I never separate this from the Cripple God, so it's this and the Cripple God are just my second favorite books in the series.
I do separate it, but it's kind of like a positive separation for me.
Okay.
I do feel like the voice in this book is like I mentioned in our Discord chats, like it is a little different than the other books, especially from Gardens and Dead House Gates and Memories.
Mm-hmm.
This book feels more like the narrator is speaking to the reader. And we had talked about why we think that is. And yeah, part of it I think is just Steve needs to stick the landing for the end of the series. And he just wants to make sure, like, okay, the important things that you need to know, let's just make sure you really know it.
I would also add that he's matching setting with theme, or like setting with tone. Like the setting of this book is kind of like wasteland and plains and desolation and looking around at like and seeing there's nothing basically.
Dust of Dreams. It's just
Yeah, it's all dust.
not a happy title.
I guess the kind of like one reading of it is that it implies that all these dreams, all these things that you think are going to happen or you hope to happen, nah, it's not.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Kind of.
Next question.
Yeah. Maybe if I were to compare this to any other book, it would be Ecclesiastes from the Bible.
Oh dear.
There are lots of thematic parallels there.
So next question from Little Sally is, did you feel anything when Tool died? It somehow just feels like he will be back. No emotions matter. Yeah, we talked about this quite a bit. So I mean,
I felt something when he died.
I still felt sad. It's just it wasn't as devastating as like when Whiskey Jack died.
I was more devastated by the fact that he just failed. Like
Did he though?
like I said, yeah, he convinced all these people that they had an enemy and they were going to go back and they were going to run away. And okay, never mind. Just let's go.
I mean, at this point in my reading, I don't think he necessarily failed because he did win over enough of them, and to me, they're gonna plot.
Okay. I'd say that they were overtaken by a much larger force.
There are always more dumb idiots around that are gonna ruin your fun.
Okay.
It's like Legendarium before when he was talking about how most people are stupid.
Next question. Lulu Salmon says, so hanging out with the Barghast a while, it's easy to say they as a people, are quite horrible and cruel. However, lots of the people's races we follow here are, which are the least vile and why? Ooh, least vile.
Least vile is boat finders people.
Oh, I
I
forgot
thought we were
about.
talking about race.
Well, she said
Race?
lots of
Or-
people/races.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boatfinder was good.
They had to kind of leave. The Andy are good, I would say,
Well,
on the whole.
based on Book of the Fallen, sure.
Yeah, oh,
I guess
okay,
they're not
like
vile.
okay. Carcanis was like 300,000 years ago here, and you're really gonna hold them accountable for that?
Who are those people that they met and told the hounds and they were like, please don't kill us? And they gave the whole spiel before they started.
Oh,
them.
yeah. I remember
Please
that.
don't rape our women. Please don't kill us. Don't steal our stuff. We will feed you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they qualify as least vile.
Oh, Black Coral, of course, is an excellent. Wait, no, it's not an excellent city. It's
That's
excellent after Seer Doman kills all the bad people in it.
Mm,
Oh, that's terrible.
They have a good appreciation for board games.
okay. I guess that qualifies them as least vile.
Yeah, that's what I want the people I hang around
Hey,
with.
the Jag Hunt aren't a people. They're just individuals. And most Jag Hunt are cool, so.
Oh well, I
I'm
think
not even going
they
to.
really run the gamut.
Oh dear.
Like there are some great Jagat, and then there are some middling Jagat who are just kind of
They're
live
not
their
a
lives.
people. They're just individuals.
They're just individuals, and then there are Jagat who literally ruin entire civilizations.
Yeah, those Jag Hunt are bad.
Yeah, they are.
But they're not a people.
Lululemon also asks, Lulu Salmon also asks, the Shake are moving into Carcass? I thought they were human. We kind of talked about this. They do have
Yeah,
some sort of
the Shaker.
connection.
They do. They're also there are Shake people who call themselves Shake in Carcass, and it doesn't make it any less confusing at all.
Okay, cool.
I think it clarifies a bit.
It clarifies a bit, but also raises so many more questions, I think.
Yes, that's a good way to explain Carcass.
And lastly, oh wait, no, it's not lastly. And you say this name.
Duka Suzuki?
Yes, okay. Asks, from the first book in Dust of Dreams, spawn of Hitan and Krupp, twins. Oh, Center and Kissware? Is that what it is?
No,
No.
no.
Wait,
Hitan's twins.
Yeah, the twins. They're from.
oh, the little ones.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
babies.
The
Oh,
little ones. Okay,
yeah.
okay. What menaces? Name the two characters in Malazan that would create the most scary kids. Oh,
Mogora
So-
and Pust.
yeah,
That's
that's a pretty good one.
I would bet if Erastus was a woman or Shadow Throne was a woman, Erastus and Shadow Throne. You got all the conniving and all the power hungry, awful, chaotic nature mixed into one.
Dear.
Raced and calm.
Wait,
Raced is someone who shouldn't be allowed to have children.
Calm was the fulcral cell that Karsa saved.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
right. Yes. I don't know. I feel like would they be scary? I think maybe. Yeah. Fulcral sales are
Malik Rel and the Lyosin. Like a version of Malik Rel that really believes that he's in the right.
Oh,
I
that
feel
would
like
be scary.
that's not as scary as that's a big bully, and I feel like they're takedownable.
You would hope.
Yeah. I guess that's
Ikariam and
kind of
Kilmandros.
scary. Ikarium
Oh.
and Kilmandros?
Does the baby inherit Ikarium's curse?
No.
No,
Why
she's
would
raised
he?
by Kilmandy.
Ah. I mean, Ikarium's not scary on his own, right? He's just insanely powerful.
I'd say he's pretty scary.
And kind of a mega genius.
And serial genocider.
Oh, I mean, we've all done it.
We have?
Have you not?
Does it count if he doesn't remember it and it's not intentional?
That's the question.
That's the question.
I'd say it counts for the people who are dead.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say it doesn't count for the people who are dead. Or sorry, it counts as genocide. Yes.
Okay.
That's a good point. If somebody's dead, they don't care anymore. So I guess murder is fine.
Depends on what you believe about after death.
Mm.
Okay,
Right.
next.
Go ahead. Nope. We can talk about the ethics of murdering civilizations later.
Oh boy. Sun Gamer 101 asks, why does Rut hold held? Please engage in rampant speculation on the ribby snake, mostly because engaging with what's happening to them is absolutely horrible.
Yes, Sun Gamer, you are absolutely right. It is just depressing to read about the snake.
Yep.
But I mean, you should channel that. Like any good literature, channel the sad parts. I mean, like they said earlier in the book, it's no point in being an optimist. You're not going to do anything about it. So maybe try to help refugees, especially children. Help starving kids.
Yes. Starve the kids. Rut holds held because that's what you do. I think it's like a real. He's being the parent to the ribby snake that they've all lost.
I mean, held needs to be held.
Held needs to be held. Yeah, exactly. They all need to be held.
Is held a newborn?
I had a feeling held is very, very small.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very,
held
very
is
small.
held is a baby. Held is a baby that needs to be held.
But I think in a way it's also comforting for Rut. Kind of like
Probably.
holding a teddy bear kind of thing.
I
Just
love holding
having
babies. My baby.
some human contact.
Mm-hmm.
That is the end of our listener questions.
Thank you, listeners. Shall we go?
Yeah. Got nothing else.
All right. That concludes this episode. If you want to join the read along and or contribute listener questions, check us out on the Legendarium's Discord. You can find the link on thelegendarium.com. Also follow us on Twitter at GreenTeaPod for updates and fun times. Check out the Legendarium podcast for real-time Cosmere Lords of Rings content and so much more. Thank you to our panelists. Next time. See you.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
see you. Bye-bye.